Okay, so what we have here is a bucket of soapy water and a very soft sponge. And with that, we're going to, very little soap, by the way. It's warm water, very little soap, and nothing harsh or hardcore. I'm gonna wring that out real well. Gonna get as dry as possible. The last thing you need is any extra moisture here. We're going to start at the very end, and we're going to kind of just clean this off. Look at all that dirt already. See, this thing is quite filthy. I'm going to clean up some of that marbling so you can see how nice that looks. Got that in now, but cleaned up very well. Getting a lot of dirt on the sponge when we do this. You want to just make sure you are extra careful. Don't put any unnecessary pressure on any of this. Obviously get as much as you can reach. Not to go over things more than once or twice. You could just hammer that graining if you're not careful. There's a little chip there, you see that? We're going to have to touch that up. So gold collar. Looks like it's cleaning up pretty well. Again, lots of dirt on the sponge. Looks like it might have been stored on that end right there at some point, so that was full of dirt. Probably on the floor of a barn. Who knows? Well, most modern homes probably wouldn't want this even today. There was even a time when historic homes thought that this was ugly. But now, quite collectible. Get that little finial on the back of that. That's going to require some touch-up paint, but nothing more than that. Maybe this the lightest of sanding. Smooth that out a little bit. Now look at this is what I'm excited to see come to life. Look at this. A band of marble graining. Oh, and look, I didn't realize that's wood down there too. So dirty and nasty down here, I couldn't even tell. So that's that. Oh, ebonized cove mold there. Got all that stuff clean. Dirty nails, clean that in there, you can see that come to life. Hard to hold the camera and do a good job of this at the same time, but try to get in there. And the only cleaning this thing has probably ever had in its life. So you want to, maybe the only one it ever gets. You want to do it well, so you don't have to do it again. This gold up here is really fragile, chippy, so we want to make sure we don't mess it up any worse. Again, look at all the dirt's coming off that every time I'm rinsing it, and it's coming right back. So it's a lot of filthy dirt on the surface here. Okay, here we are back at the cornices, and so far I've cleaned one up. I just wanted to show you how it contrasts with the one that hasn't been cleaned up. Now, can you see what I'm looking at there? Sometimes my bench can throw the view a little bit, but there's just no comparison already. And so far, this is just with a little bit of soap and water and a sponge. We've made that much difference on these things. So that looks good. Very encouraging. Also discovered another band of graining right here that I didn't even realize existed when I started. But look at this band here in relation to this band here. They'll look exactly the same when that second one is cleaned up. But that's a tremendous difference in the dirty. And look how plain the gold got. The gold looks marvelous. It's going to only take some really minor touch-ups. You can see it's crazed and crackled and everything else, but we don't care about that. That looks good from a historic standpoint, so we're going to leave that. I've also cleaned up one of the two ebonized crests. Don't look tremendously different in the camera here, but nonetheless, it's the lower one I've cleaned up. This one, and it's a little cleaner. You can kind of see the other one looks a little cloudy still, and this one not so much. So, we're going to replace all this whole stretch of cracked and missing gesso all along there. Place it here. This is actually gold incised. No, that's just painted on there. It's not incised in there. So we'll get out the gold paint and with the best of our ability paint the finest of lines just to touch that off. Same here. Get it to look like that one. That's our only example of one in particularly good shape. Now that I look at the two, they don't even match. Look, this one's got this bump up here in the stencil, and that one does not. Over here, well, they're similar. I just got lazy on this one, forgot to do it apparently. Anyway, that's what they look like half cleaned up and how they contrast from one to the next. And you can certainly see that that one front is a lot cleaner than the one behind it. So we'll have the other one looking that way shortly. Stand by. Alright, here's my slop sink, and what I want to show you here is just how disgustingly dirty this water turned out to be. Look at that. That's all the dirt that just came off of it. And that's actually off of just one of them. I stopped halfway through and clean my bucket up there, clean up my sponge. I stopped halfway through and replaced all the soap and water after I was done with the first one. So you want to make sure that your water isn't too dirty, so you're not just running dirt back over the top of the dirt you're trying to clean up. Also, I wanted to show you the soap I used on this. This is come into focus there. Anyway, it's Dr. Bromer's Magic Soap, 18-in-1 hemp peppermint pure Castile soap made with organic oils. That's not a soap that has a lot of chemicals and that kind of stuff in it. It's all natural, and it's, if used lightly, it's very effective on the furniture, and no risk of really tarnishing any of the original finishes that we're always worried about. Okay, here we are. I now have both of the cornices completely cleaned up with soap and water, and we're almost ready to move on to the next step, which is to kind of paint in gesso everywhere where the gesso's chipped. So you'll see how to do that in just a minute. But beforehand, I want to give you a look at the cornices and then a couple other small aspects of the cleaning job. Okay, here they are. As you can see, they already look
a lot better than they did before. There's the two crests. And that's not just my camera. One actually has quite a bit more shine than the other one, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to get those to even out a little bit more. But there you go, the two cleaned up cornices. See if I can get you a whole shot here of them. My shop is not that big. There they are. Both cleaned up and ready for the next step.